Episode 33, part 3. We're going back to some football. Who's ready for some football? Yeah. I know you guys are ready for some football. Everybody doing okay today? Teach, coach, welcome. How's your day?
Sweet.
Man, not sweet, but that's okay. I'm glad to be here. Sprint,
Yes.
Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T, whoever is, man, it's been a heck of a day. Phone people, I can't stand phone people.
That's okay. Maybe phone people, if you'd like to sponsor us and be liked by Teach, give us a shout. 3for3pod@gmail.com. That's what we do. So always available. Listen, 33. I think there's only really one 33. I think it's Tony Dorsett, right? 33. I know there's Roger Craig and Teach. You want to be a thousand club, whatever. Roger Craig, come on. Compared to Tony Dorsett, Dorsett had a 99-yard touchdown run that is unbelievable. Okay, number one. Number two, it's Tony Dorsett, Dallas Cowboy. What else you want in life?
Listen, okay, 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards. This is before Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, the running back catching football.
Marshall Faulk.
It's amazing. Marshall Faulk's part of that club as well.
Marshall Faulk, yeah. And then another one to go way back, Sammy Ba. I think he played quarterback, punter, kicker, defensive tackle, cornerback on some plays, and he coached the team at the same time.
I heard he helped do water boy in the middle of plays too. Just saying.
Yeah, and I think he said, Mama said alligators were always mad because they didn't have a toothbrush for all their teeth, right? And so, Sammy Ba, 33.
No, Podfather, you're wrong.
Yeah. So never wrong, okay? Never uncertain. What's the saying? How does it go?
No.
Okay. All right. So
you did it without saying it personally.
Podfather is rarely right, but never uncertain.
Perfect segue into the AFC South as promised. So today on part 3, we get to wrap up the AFC as we know it. So after today, there's no more hidden gems in the AFC. We already know how it's going to play out. You don't even have to watch it on TV if you don't want to. It's going to be there. This is what's going to happen, okay? Watch it for fantasy football. Don't watch it for the records because I've already told you how it's going to go, okay? So AFC South. Let's back up. Let's do a little rewind and get a refresher really quick. So far, AFC East, Buffalo Bills, 12-5. Leading the AFC. Right now, depending on how this division falls, sitting in the seat of the bye week. They get to bye in the playoffs. AFC West won by the Chiefs at 11-6. And the AFC North won by the Bengals at 11-6. So now AFC South. A few things you need to know about the AFC South. The AFC South plays the entire of the AFC North. And they get one opponent each from the AFC East, AFC West, and the NFC West. So it's not an easy. It's got some bumps in there. There's some good teams through that, okay? In addition to their intra-division opponents, right? Want to preface this division, because I think we all know it. Who's been killing it in this division? Who's led the way for the last couple of years?
Titans. Titans seem to be the team the last couple of years who have just run the division. Literally run the division.
Literally run the division. I love how you said that. It's so true. Derrick Henry has just killed the NFL, killed the division. The handicap of Ryan Tannehill didn't really matter with that offensive line, that running back, and then that hard-nosed defense, right? It's the way they played it. But last year, Week 18, Jacksonville Jaguars. Last week of the year for the division. That's what we watch football for. That's the moments. And Trevor Lawrence. Those young guys come out, put them in their place, and take the division. I love it. Anything you want to add to the division before I move on and we start jumping right into the Houston Texans? I'll give you guys 10 seconds to speak each.
After looking at the AFC East, North, and West, this was a much easier division to look at.
Yeah, and I told you that last week. I said, hey, it's going to be much different, much easier because these teams are all in very different places, right? So, Coach?
Maybe the weakest division in football.
You think?
Yeah.
It's possible. It's definitely possible.
Coach, but last week what you said was awesome. What? Juggernauts To juggernauts.
To juggernaut.
That's-
Just
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what it is.
I loved that. It was a really good like hit us where it is. You always come up with the weirdest sayings at the weirdest time. Um, yeah, good for Coach. That's why Coach is around. All right, guys, here we go. Houston Texans. Let's start here. So I want to give you guys this. D'Amico Ryans. It's year one. Year one, young buck coming out, former NFL player. Right, this worked wonders in San Francisco. I would have to imagine CJ Stroud's going to be the starter at some point this season. I look for him to start week one. That's just me. But if not week one, I think relatively close to week one. I don't see him not starting past week 5. You know what I mean? So just to preface really quick. Will Anderson, another draft pick, really high on defense. Can Dameon Pierce stay healthy? Biggest question is who's Stroud throwing the ball to? I want to give you some names really quick. Which one pops off the paper to you? Nico Collins, John Mechie, Robert Woods, Dalton Schultz. It is not an elite group of pass catchers. And hey, Mechie, if he can stay healthy, he can play. The problem is, can he stay healthy? We haven't seen it yet. Don't know what that's going to look like. But that's kind of the preface going into Houston. DraftKings has their over and under on the win at 5.5, so 5.5. Teach, where do you have the Houston Texans before we jump into it? Oh, last year they finished 3-13-1. 3-13-1.
So I see improvement. I don't know if I see that much improvement, but I'm definitely going to take the over. I think they're gonna finish 6-11. I think the biggest question is John Mechie coming back, and can he develop that chemistry with C.J. Stroud? I really like D'Amico Ryans. I really like the offensive coordinator who brought with him, Bobby Slowick. I do think it's going to take a little while to get their guys in there and go ahead and scheme up. This year is kind of a redshirt year, I think, for the Texans. The goal should be improvement. Hopefully get to that 6, 7, 8 wins, maybe surprise some people, maybe crush some dreams week 16, 17, and 18. But that's how I see the Texans going. So I would go over on DraftKings.
You're going over. So you had them at 6 wins or 7 wins?
6 wins, 6-11.
6-11. All right, good call, Teach. I love that. Coach, what you got?
I got them at 7-10. I got the over. I think that they went for it. They made a couple moves. I think that'll invigorate the locker room. Was Dalton Schultz a Cowboy last year?
We don't talk about ex lovers.
So let's talk about the best. Let's talk about the best tight end in Texas, Dalton Schultz, and how you after week 10 said he was the best, maybe one of the sneakiest fantasy football players to pick up for tight end. We won't talk about that either. But since he's on a different team, let's go ahead and say Robert Woods, he can stretch the floor. Michi's got some ability. Collins, they all got playmaking abilities. It seems though they're the type of wide receivers that make them about once a game and then disappear the rest of the game. So that's going to be one of the biggest things. Can they get open? Can they get open? And because Pierce is him, he could run the ball 10,000 times, but he doesn't catch that much out of the backfield either, which can hurt a quarterback like Stroud starting out. They need that safety down shot to him. And so Schultz could get a lot of catches because of this. 7-10, I think they're improving. I don't think they're going to make much noise. It's a weak division, 30th strength of schedule, I think it is, 29th,
30th.
And so with that, I'll give them 7 wins with that weak schedule.
Wow, 7 wins. So you guys went both over. 7 wins, 6 wins. Might I remind you, before I give you what my call is, might I remind you is that I traded off one Dameon Pierce in week 7 or 8 last year in fantasy football before I took home the championship because I saw that movie before. So I'm not sold on Dameon Pierce as being a juggernaut running back. Maybe he's a juggernaut. I'm not sure, right, Coach? Here's what I have them at. 5-12. 5-12. I took the under. Rookie quarterback, rookie head coach, rookie leader on the defensive line. I'm not sure about their weapons on the outside. I know Dalton Schultz will probably catch a bunch of passes, but guess what? That doesn't work unless you're Kansas City, okay? Doesn't turn into touchdowns unless you're Kansas City. I got them at 5-12. 5-12. Here's some of the games I think they might win. Maybe they can split with the Colts. Maybe they could split with the Titans. The Buccaneers are a toss-up. Cardinals are a toss-up. Falcons are a toss-up. I like the Panthers a little more than I like the Texans. So that's where I'm at, 5-12. Mark it down.
We still have not guessed a Podfather prediction yet. We are 0-4.
You're right now. You're 0 for 13. 0 for 13. Moving on to the next team.
Looking like a rookie quarterback.
You guys are looking like rookie quarterbacks. Here we go. Let's move on. See if you can get this one. Indianapolis Colts. This one's fun also, right? We had C.J. Stroud in the last team. This team, we get Anthony Richardson. Rookie head coach in the last team. This team, we get Shane Steichen. A lot of things coming. They're very similar. Last year, Dameon Pierce gets hurt. Well, so did Shaq Leonard in Indianapolis. So did Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis. And so a lot of similarities. Now, don't take that as a hint and try to change what you have in your head about their schedule, because that's not a hint. Maybe I have them at 5-12. Maybe I don't. We're going to find out here shortly. So welcome Shane Steichen. Jim Bob Cooter also comes. And hey, look, personnel, offensive coordinator, he's not bad.
Best name in football, too. Jim Bob Cooter.
Could be the best name. DeBrickashaw is pretty awesome, too. But Jim Bob Cooter, if you're from the South, that's number one, right? Welcome back, Jonathan Taylor and Shaq Leonard. So both most important people, one on offense, one on defense, back healthy this year, hopefully. Can Jonathan Taylor return to form is my big question. And what can we expect from Anthony Richardson? Now, before I give it to you guys, remember, Anthony Richardson blew the roof off of the combine. Maybe the best combine ever by a quarterback prospect. Maybe. Possibly. Don't shake your head yet. Possibly. Maybe. 29th strength in schedule. So Texans had the 30th strongest, so the weakest, second weakest strength of schedule. They have the 29th. Okay? Very weak. Teach, what's your prediction? And add anything you want to really quick.
Yeah, I do think it's a big year for Jonathan Taylor. I think he's going to come out kind of like Saquon did last year after injury and just blow the doors off the minivan. I think he's going to do very well next year. I also sneakily like Alec Pierce. I think in year 2 he's going to take strides, but I think he's going to be hurt by the production of his quarterback. I don't like Anthony Richardson. I didn't like him coming out. Awesome, great. He threw the ball so hard he hit the roof. Again, last I checked, there was not a wide receiver on the roof. That's a problem. I think his athleticism is great. That's awesome. But if you look at his game film from Florida, there were games he just did not show up. He's not an accurate quarterback. I think he's going to be great at the goal line because he's going to outrun everybody to the pylon. I don't see this team being very good next year, 5-12.
5-12. You had them below Houston. Wow, because I think their roster is substantially better than Houston's roster. But that's good. I like that, 5-12. And just to add on to what you said, Teach, I am not a fan of their outside weapons, Pittman or Pierce. Pittman let me down in fantasy football last year. I'll never forgive him. Don't like him. So, Coach.
I think Jonathan Taylor might not come back to form. That's the problem. I want to see it first. And a lot of times with these running backs, especially nowadays, it seems to happen all the time. They get that one injury. He's hitting about that age, and then it just all goes downhill. So with that knowledge, Anthony Richardson, I don't really love him. I didn't like the pick. I think they could have went elsewhere. 5-12.
Wow.
Yeah, I counted the games, yeah.
Yeah, so both of you guys go taking the under. DraftKings has them at 6.5. So both of you guys are taking the under at 5-12. I like that. I like that a lot. Not what I have, though. Let me tell you how it's going to play out. 0 for 14 for you guys. Here's how it's going to play out. Last year, they went 4-12-1, okay? I happen to think with Shane Steichen, Jim Bob Cooter coming, I happen to think Anthony Richardson brings a little more to the playing field than just what a Cam Jackson is what he calls himself, a mix between Cam Newton and Lamar Jackson. Not a big fan of both of them, but he's Cam Jackson, okay? I think JT does come back to form a little bit. I like them much better than I like Houston. I have them going 7-10. 7-10 is where I have the Indianapolis Colts. Um, I just think they're a more talented roster. Here's why. I think they can split with Houston. I definitely think they can split with the Steelers. The Titans, not the Steelers, the Titans. Sorry, I think they can split with the Titans, right? And so then I think they have the Rams, which is a winnable game. The Buccaneers, which is a winnable game. The Raiders, we don't know what Jimmy G's going to do in Las Vegas yet. Could be a winnable game. Falcons is winnable. Panthers is winnable with this team because they run the ball well. The option, Patriots is a winnable game. So I'm just saying I like the over 7-10. So right now we have Houston at 5-12. The Colts at 7-10. Y'all ready to move on, or do you have anything you want to add?
No.
We're going to move right on to the ones I talked about splitting, not the Steelers, but the Titans. Okay, not the Steelers, but the Titans. Let's talk about Derrick Henry. Let's talk about Tennessee. Can you even talk about Tennessee without talking about Derrick Henry? I don't know. But here's what I got prefacing for Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill's possibly last hurrah. And could this be it for Vrabel also? I think it's one of those years. It's like a flex year, right? And we see it happen every so often in the NFL. Will Levis drafted in the second round, looking over Ryan Tannehill, looking over his shoulder. What's that going to look like? Then you still have Malik Willis back there too. What happens there, right? The old Liberty protege, right? Can Derrick Henry stay healthy and an unbalanced attack again? Can he do it? I don't know. But those to me are the biggest questions. 28th strength of schedule. So again, a weak strength of schedule. DraftKings has them at 7.5. So I'm going to go to you to add your piece and to give your prediction. I'm going to Teach first and you coach next. Teach, what do you have them at?
Yeah, I think you alluded to it in the intro for Tennessee. I don't think this year goes well. I think Tannehill probably plays mediocrely and then gets traded or released and signs on somewhere else. I think they hand the reins over to Will Levis, not Malik Willis. And it's a shame because Vrabel is a good coach. And if this is the last ride for him, then great. I think he's the future coach of the New England Patriots. So I can see him stepping away from football really quick. Will Levis is probably going to start 4 or 5 games, get his feet wet, and then be the confirmed starter next year.
So
4-13.
4-13, so well below DraftKings 7.5. Love that. What do you have for him, Coach?
I got I think Derrick Henry is going to be better than whatever you think he is. I think he's going to be the best running back in the division, I believe. I believe he's going to be way above Jonathan Taylor. I think they don't have any great pieces for wide receivers. So offensively it's a little bit different. But I'll take Ryan Tannehill. I'll take his ability. I'll take the defense. I'll take what's going on. I mean, they were 7-10 and they were hurt last year. I'm gonna take them for a little bit of resurgence. I think they're gonna go 9-8 this year. I think they got some very winnable games. They got a really easy schedule. Looking at, and they are better than some of these teams.
Wow.
Yeah, I like them at 9-8. I think they're gonna be a little stronger than what everybody's thinking of them. Somebody's got to.
That's great. 9-8. That's way off based on what I have, but we'll talk about it now. I kind of lean on what you were saying, Teach. I think Will Levis ends up getting 4 or 5 games in this year. They start to move away from Tannehill. You see that transition starting to happen because of the win-loss record. I see them start to transition. But I have them at a 6-11. Okay, I had them at 6-11. Tennessee. So down from last year 7-10, and under from the 7.5 in DraftKings. Here's what I want to tell you. Even though they have an easy schedule, they're still playing the Dolphins, the Browns, the Jaguars, the Saints, who I think are going to be a better team than most people think. I think Derek Carr's a better quarterback than what most people think. The Seahawks, who are good, the Chargers, who are good, the Bengals, who are good, the Ravens, who, Coach, you're big on the Ravens, right? And so that's where I see them. I see them at 6-11, right? Okay, so yeah. Let's stop talking about the bottom of the barrel.
All these terrible teams, somebody's got to come from the AFC South as, a dominant team or a decent team.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that because the last team we had to talk about in the AFC South is just that. It is just that. I want to tell you a little bit about these Jacksonville Jaguars that we're about to talk about. Year 2 for Dougie P. Year 2 for Dougie P and Trevor Lawrence together. Can Lawrence continue to rise at a historic pace in the NFL? He has the second highest QBR jump from year 1 to year 2, only behind Terry Bradshaw. Terry B. Terry Bradshaw had a 29-point jump. Lawrence had a 23. Just perspective. Elway had a 22. Manning had a 19. Burrow had an 18. QBR. Don't hate. It's Trevor Lawrence. It's T. Law.
It's also not a true stat.
It is a true stat.
It's a Frank stat.
QBR is different from quarterback rating. What you were looking up was quarterback rating. QBR is something very different.
Yeah, it's different. It's QBR.
Sorry.
It's a bunch of metrics put in together.
This
right?
is a Frank. This is a coach. This is a coach thing. You want to know why? I'll tell you why it's a coach thing. Because you have to be bad the first year and good the second year to even be on this list.
That's right.
So if you were just good overall, you're not on this list.
So the quarterback rating list was wrong too, because who would be number one? That'd be Coach's guy. Coach's guy from year 1 to year 2 made the biggest jump in quarterback rating, and you left him off the list.
I'm not worried about Lamar Jackson. Okay.
No, Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes registered an increase of 37.4, which would have put him on the top of the list. Why? Because he played one game.
He didn't qualify. He played 1 or 2 games.
You had guys on there that didn't play a whole season.
Doesn't qualify.
1, got the stat wrong. 2, left Pat Mahomes off. 3, Pat Mahomes led the whole thing.
He didn't qualify in games played, number 1. Number 2 is, I know you guys are Trevor Lawrence haters, okay? And I know I'm big on Trevor Lawrence.
No, I'm a stat truther. I'm not a Trevor Lawrence hater. I'm a stat truther.
We're going to get to that in just a little bit. But I think Trevor Lawrence continues to climb because of one addition. That man called Calvin Ridley. Coming from Atlanta, they got him on the cheap. I think he's going to make a world of difference on the outside for Trevor Lawrence. World of difference. And Travis Etienne, which I talked about earlier in our Fantasy Football Friday. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Go look it up. It's there. I gave you our top 5. Some climbers, some sleepers, some don't drafts. Really good stuff. It's there for you. Jaguars have the number 23 strength and schedule. DraftKings has them at 10.5. Wow. 10.5. Last year they went 9-8, won the division, made the playoffs. Teach, where do you have your boy Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars finishing this year?
First off, I want to say the offense is going to continue to improve. I love the TikTok you did on Football Friday. Travis Etienne is looking like that guy who is going to sneak up on everybody. I'm worried about the defense a little bit. Can they hold teams to 21 points or less? I think that is going to be the litmus test for them. If they can hold teams to 20 points or less, then they're fine. Before I make my prediction, this prediction brought to you by Calvin Ridley and DraftKings. Make sure you make your bets. So I have them going. Calvin and I have them going 11-6. 11-6.
11-6. Wow. Okay, good.
Over.
That's a good record. You have them slightly below Buffalo. I would have known that.
It's an independent study.
Independent study, right?
Yeah.
Great. I love that. Coach, where do you have them? Probably under Baltimore, but I will wait.
So, looking at their schedule, they have a pretty sizable difference in strength of schedule. They definitely have a harder schedule than the rest of the division. Last year they were just a smidgen above 500, so it's not like let's not kid the situation. Yeah, they won some games in a row, but they were just a smidgen above 500. This year, I think at the beginning of the year, everybody didn't take Trevor Lawrence seriously because he didn't deserve to be. And at the end of the year, when he deserved to be, they weren't taking him seriously. I think this year's going to be different. With that knowledge, I got him at 8-9. I wanted to put him at 7-10, but I'll give him an extra one. I'll give him a bump. I think Calvin Ridley's a headache. I believe he's going to be a good player, but young quarterback. This guy's got issues. Who the heck gambles in the NFL when you make millions? Why would you do that? And it was $1,000 bet. It wasn't even like a big bet. It was so stupid.
He Pete
So-
Rosed it.
He Pete Rosed it. ATN's got to stay healthy. He's got. There's all kinds of question marks all up and down the field. I have less question marks than Tennessee, in my opinion. That's why I gave him the record.
Coach, you keep forgetting the action is the juice.
The action is the juice. Listen, so I can't even believe you said, what'd you say, 8-9?
8-9. I wanted to go 7-10, but I gave him one.
So I'm just going to go out and spill my guts. Teach, you finally got one right. Jacksonville goes 11-6, 1 for 13. 1 for 15. Yeah, you did it. One time for the one time. Love that. Got Jacksonville going 11-6. So, really quick, before we move on to the small stuff, the big stuff, the great stuff, a recap. The AFC South. Texans finished the bottom of the barrel at 5-12. The Titans come next at 6-11. The Colts run up a little bit, 7-10. I expect them to do a little better. Jacksonville wins the division, running away with it at 11-6. That's how the AFC South plays out. Okay, so I'm going to run down the playoffs in just a moment. But before we leave the AFC South, Teach, for you first, Coach, you second. Give me your biggest story of the AFC South.
I like rivalries between teams, between players. I think we're going to start to see a rivalry between Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. Really, the question at 4 for the Colts was, are they going to pick Will Levis or are they going to go Anthony Richardson? It's very similar to the Josh Allen, Sam Darnold draft, where the Jets drafted Darnold 3rd and Allen took that as a chip on his shoulder. The Bills drafted Allen 7th. And there wasn't really a rivalry because Darnold was out of there after he saw Ghost. So I think that's the biggest storyline, is looking not only this season, but in the upcoming years. How does that play out? Who was right?
I love that. Coach.
The biggest storyline will be every team that these teams play, because it's the weakest division of football, in my opinion. So, honestly, anywhere else you go, that's what I'm worried about. Being an Ohio State fan, I am looking forward to seeing what CJ Stroud can do, but I don't expect a lot. They were a really bad team last year. They're going to be a pretty bad team this year. But yeah, it's a no-nothing division. No, I could care one lick about this whole division.
Wow.
Personally.
So for me, I have one question for the entirety of NFL fans. Is it Trevor Lawrence time in the NFL? Is it Trevor Lawrence time in the NFL? That being said, I want to play a game with you guys. Can we play a little 3 for 3?
Yeah.
I want to see if we'll go 3 for 3 on any of these. And it has to do with Trevor Lawrence. So we're going to do Trevor Lawrence or for the next 3 to 5 years. Okay, is the thing 3 to 5 years, 3 to 5.
Is it on the team they're on, or independently if we're picking them?
Independently, if you're picking a quarterback.
Okay.
3 to 5. 3 to 5. Okay. So 3 for 3. Would you rather Trevor Lawrence or the person for 3 to 5 years? We're going to start here. Trevor Lawrence or Patty Mahomes. Teach, then Coach.
Patty McTouchdowns.
Patty. It's ridiculous.
Patty. We're 3 for 3. Trevor Lawrence or Joe Burrow?
Trevor Lawrence. I'm not sure Joe Burrow can do it without the weapons.
No, I'm going Joe Burrow until he proves me otherwise.
I'm going Trevor Lawrence. So we're 2 for 3 on Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, not by much.
Trevor Lawrence, we're 3 for 3. Trevor Lawrence or Tua Tagovailoa?
T-Law.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. That's
Trevor Lawrence. We're 3 for 3. Trevor Lawrence or Dak Prescott?
T-Law. Dak's too old.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, 3 for 3. Trevor Lawrence or Kirk Cousins?
Trevor Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence over him.
Definitely Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, my bad. I thought they got so many similar stats. I thought it was the same player in a row. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. My bad. I'm sorry.
Trevor Lawrence. We're 3 for 3 on that one. That was a bad joke. Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson?
Give me Trevor Lawrence. Deshaun has too many problems.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. We're 3 for 3.
Close.
Trevor Lawrence or Jalen Hurts?
This one's tough. I'll give the edge to Trevor.
No, I'm taking Jalen Hurts.
I'm going Trevor Lawrence. We're 2 for 3. Trevor Lawrence or Lamar Jackson?
Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if Lamar can stay healthy.
Lamar Jackson, MVP.
I'm going Trevor Lawrence. 2 for 3. Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert?
Give me Herbert.
Lawrence.
I'm going Trevor Lawrence. We're 2 for 3. Trevor Lawrence or Josh Allen?
Throw me through a table. Josh Allen, baby. Bills Mafia.
Josh Allen. This isn't hard.
I'm going Trevor Lawrence. I think it's Trevor Lawrence time in the NFL. Appreciate you guys for playing. We had some 3 for 3s in there. That was good. Now, I want to recap for you guys. I did a little thing. I didn't send it to you guys, but I want to give you the playoff picture for the AFC before we leave today. Okay? This is what the playoffs in the AFC is going to look like. Playoff bracket. The Bills come in at the number 1 seed with the bye week, 12-5. The Bengals come in at the number 2 seed at 11-6. Chiefs come in at the number 3 seed at 11-6. Jaguars at number 4 seed, 11-6. The Jets come in at the 5 seed at 11-6. The Broncos come in at the 6 seed at 10-7. And the Ravens edge out the Chargers and the Dolphins for the last wild card spot at 9-8. So off of the list for the playoffs in the AFC, the Chargers and the Dolphins are definitely the biggest misses. What's your guys' thoughts really quick? 30 seconds. We're going to wrap this thing up.
Your lips to God's ears.
Yes, I agree.
There's no earth in all the realms where Kansas City isn't 1 or 2 this year. There's no earth.
No, they're 3.
No, there's 0.
Yeah. All right. So that's the AFC. That's how it played out. I appreciate you guys playing that with us. We will not start in the NFC East next week. We will start in the NFC West. We will work. No. NFC West, North, South, make our way East. Okay. That's what we're going to do. It's going to be a little different. We have to finish with the Cowboys. Because how about them Cowboys, right? So congratulations, Bills Mafia, to the Buffalo Bills. You heard it here on episode 33, part 3, AFC South edition. The Bills get the bye week going into the playoffs in the AFC. Number 1 seed, 12-5. Jaguars win the division. Great time for football. Continue to check us out, subscribe, like, all of that kind of stuff. Always new content coming in 33 minutes or less. 3 for 3. We're out.